So guys, hello and welcome back to the rendering part and the look development part. So what I did, I mentioned it I think in the previous video, radius 0.01, and then I just I file cached 2 out. So I got currently 2 geometries sitting here. So that geometry here, and on frame 2 I got another kind of geometry with these little spikes, and I think they look really cool too. And now let's go to the previous geometry, and then we can start to render them out. So I will dive up one level, and first of all I will create a material network, of course as usual, and a ROP network, RS out and an RS mat for materials. So this is like as always the same system. You create your material network and your ROP network, so basically your rendering network, and I will dive inside a ROP network. Place down a redshift node RS out 001. Let's go here on GI. I will enable global illumination, and I will enable 4 RTX cards, the RTX acceleration and the automatic sampling. So if you got an RTX card, so 2080, 2070, 3080, so basically the RTX cards, you can enable that for RTX core acceleration. So now we got our material network, but first of all what I want to do, I want to get a new camera here. So go up here and just create a new camera. I will call that camera underscore 001, maybe 001. And with this camera we can now, I think it's already hooked up. Yes, okay. Cool. Now we got a camera. I will change a little bit, full HD, focal length a little bit longer, and again just as usual, copy parameter, so basically the focal distance, and paste it in here. Then the COC radius, and I will use a bokeh image. If you want to learn how to how you can create like a bokeh image, you can visit my YouTube channel. There's a bokeh image tutorials. Just type in TimJ. I think it's called Photography X 3D Design bokeh image creation. You can look that up, because I think it's pretty cool if you bring like the analog aspect, so basically the analog bokeh image into Houdini or other 3D softwares, and then experiment with that kind of thing. And it's pretty powerful in my opinion. Of course there are several of bokeh images in the internet too. So let's adjust the focus here, and for the first test rendering I want a pretty simple light setup. So an RS light, and then maybe side 001. And what I will do, I will move the light to the side here, just like that. And I will make it round and a little bit bigger. So disk, let's move it further away, tilt it a little bit, and I will make it a little bit bigger. Dive inside in our camera, and now get up the redshift render view, and we will see our first rendering, of course now without any materials. Let's just make it always on top. I will choose Rec 709 for that. And now you can see we've got our first image here. Of course, the light is way too bright, so we can bring the exposure down on that. Maybe -5 should be fine. Let's just re-enable progressive rendering. Because it's currently it's pretty blown out. Let's make that a little bit bigger. So maybe -5 will work. Yeah, that looks good. Or maybe -4. Yeah. Okay. So currently it's like this Rembrandt style. So you've got like one side light. I think that's pretty cool. You can use it. We will of course make other light setups, but let's just use one light to make our initial material, and then we can further experiment with the light source and the light distribution. So let me just get a little bit of tea here. We'll place down in the RS mat or in the material network on RS material, of course, RS mat 001. And this will be our material for our mineral. First, what I want to do is to get the RS color user data and type in mask, so we then can like load our masking. And with this masking we can then further influence our shading, of course. So this will be mask. Was it mask? I think so. Oh yeah, of course we need to apply the material. So I will dive in here, place down a material node, and let's call that maybe RS mat. Just quickly disable the rendering, and then we need, of course, to apply the material. So just drag and drop it over here, and now you can see it's applied. And I think it was mask, I think. So let's dive back inside and get to the information. Oh, yes, mask, okay. So now what you also can do, of course, that's now like pretty heavy geometry. What you can do, you can further poly reduce it, for example. And let me just close this render here, and I will place down poly reduce node. Just get it a little bit faster. The RTX 3090 is pretty fast, especially if you got 2. But for me, 2 are like pretty good. But yeah, just with loading up and iterate like the rendering, it can take a little bit of time, of course. I will just reduce this. Reduce now the whole setup to like 25%. Another thing what you can do, you can play with the adaptivity on your VDB, on your convert VDB node. You can play with the adaptivity slider and reduce there the polygons, or you can do it after the initial geometry creation or the geometry output. You can then, for example, place on a poly reduce node and then poly reduce it. It will take a little bit of time. We are now halfway through, but I think poly reduce will give you pretty good results. So you can try that out. Of course, you also can try like a combination of both. So maybe VDB from polygons convert, then get a adaptivity a little bit up, and after that a poly reduce if you got like really heavy geometry, like 50-80 million polygons, maybe from a high resolution scan, so you can try that out, for example. And now we poly reduced it, and you can see we got now 1.5 million, and I think that's pretty good. Let's start the rendering again. Cool, so this is now our mask. Let's pipe that in here, and we will do like several materials blending together. So the first material that I want to do, let me just get the mask back in here. The material that I want to do first will be like the black areas here, or the non-masked areas. Let's just get me that on smooth shaded. So basically in this representation, the white areas here, and after that I want to shade like yeah, the initial geometry. So let's get started with our first material. This will be that material here, and I will start with some noises. So Maxo noise, Ars Maxo noise. There are few, so I like to use the Luca noise and another noise, and that is the listed turbulence, or wavy turbulence is also pretty cool for yeah, bump details, so you can look into that too. So those both noises, and then I want the, where is it, the displaced Voronoi, and maybe the Sada is pretty cool for, yeah, for just details, or for maybe a kind of abstract or kind of flow shading. Electric is pretty cool too, so we will use that, and after that we will use a composite. So we will composite that together, or it's color composite. So the first both noises, you can get it, of course it's up to you, average or multiply. I will use a multiply on that one. And the second one will be those both noises, maybe on a multiply 2, or I think an average would be better for that. And let's get the scale here a little bit smaller, so for example 0.5 should be very good. And what we can do, we can composite, oops, those both noises again together to get a higher detailed noise. And here again it's fully up to you. You can try, for example, subtract, average, burn, overlay, divide, so that's fully up to you, but I will use an average. And bump, so Rs bump map, this will be the input, and we can go here in our material and have a look. This will be now our bump map, 0.01, so yeah, get it a little bit further down. Cool, so we got our bump map. Now I want to, yeah, basically make like a color map for the stone. And I want to use a little bit of a different offset here on each noise. So this is why we copied the whole thing. And you can then play, of course, with the scale. So for the Luca I will go for a larger scale, so we will get larger color distribution. And after that, so after the composite, I will place down a color, a ramp basically. And now the cool thing is you can remap the whole thing. And then I will remap it again, but with the initial surface color. So that is now fully up to you what you will use. First of all, what I will do, bring up the roughness a little bit. We can do that with a noise too, but currently I will just use the simple float value. So now for the shading, that's again of course on your side. You can make it abstract, like a pretty saturated color with a cool complementary color scheme. You can do that too, but for now I will stay with more simplified values here. For example, something like that. So go to the dark side. So now we got our top material. And what I want to do, I want to get a little bit detail into the top material. So we now got like these both trees here, and maybe for the we can use that same ramp for the roughness. So we can play with the roughness. So basically black, when you make it fully black, it's really reflective. And if you go to the white here, you can see it will get rougher, or the roughness will increase. So I think that's good for now. Yeah, I think that's good. Cool. So that's the first one. Now what I want to do, I want on our basically base material or base mineral material, I want to include some fine little details with like like a metallic flicker or metallic flakes on there. So what I will do, I will pipe that material into a material blender, and this will be our base color. Pipe that in here, and what I want to do is to get a noise. So we can just get a noise here, pipe that into the surface quickly, and let's have a look with the noise. Maybe I will use a Naki noise. I think that will be pretty good. And again a ramp. Grayscale, pipe it in here, and now we can remap it. Whoops, not plugged in. Now it's plugged in. Now we can remap here our color values. Let me just refresh the rendering. Yes. And we can increase the overall scale, so 0.25, to just get like these little flakes here. And now the white parts will get blended through. So if we get a material here and use the preset, maybe aluminium. Of course you can use a bump or don't use a bump, that's fully up to you. We will now get these little aluminium flakes, and I think that will add some nice details. Yeah, maybe something like that. That's cool. Of course you can, for example, you can play with the color. So basically the reflectivity to get like these intricate colored details. And I think that's pretty cool when you now get like these patterns on the base material, like that one here. And then you can use like the same materials on our detailed mineral worlds that are scattered on top of that. So we can try that out, of course. So that will be our first main material, and we will use another material blender here, again base, and now our user data color, basically our mask, will get piped into the blend color. And we'll pipe the whole thing in here, and now you can see when we get like this material here and here, and we'll refresh our render window, you can see we now get the other kind of material involved here. So we will blend now with our mask, and we can start all over again. So what I want to do, let's get another bump mapping here. but just get the visualization of the bump mapping. I want to get like a little bit of a different bump mapping here. That bump mapping, we will use that for the metallic look. For example, you can go crazy with like Sema, Stapple, Salvor noise, pretty cool for some stuff, especially for fabric, but we will do fabric too in the last chapter. But I think now it's like it's a cool way now to experiment with the different noises. And we can pipe that into the bump and that again into the surface. And for example the roughness, let's pipe that up to maybe 1. And let's have a look on here. 0.1. Let's go for 0.5. 0.1. Of course, the bump mapping is currently way too high, so maybe just lower it to 0.0085. And now we got also a pretty good bump mapping involved here. Looks already pretty nice. Let's refocus here our geometry. And now you will get like this this fusion between the little flakes here and the geometry. And I think you can visualize that a little bit better if you get another kind of geometry, so another kind of color. So if you basically use that color here, so for example the orange color, and then use the orange color, so a much more saturated color on here, and maybe of course desaturate it a little bit, but I think you will you'll get the idea. So now we got like the flakes here and the color fusion between those both separated color schemes or color variations, or basically materials. So let's go. I will do here. I really like it when it's like more like of a reflective, but of course you can do it like fully matte. I think will not look that good. So I think a little bit reflectivity is good on that kind of shading. So another thing what I want to do is like blend now, or go for another color variation in the top geometry layer. So what I want to do is place on a curvature, pipe it in the surface. Let's restart the rendering here, and now we can get a radius down, convex or concave. Let's go for convex. And when you place down a ramp, you can remap basically the values from the curvature. And I think curvature is a pretty powerful tool, because you can always see that applied in nature. And for example, you can change your color here. So let's go for a pretty saturated look now, reflectivity, and pipe that into here. And let's refresh our render window. And now you can see we've got like two color variations. And you can play with them. So I will just heavily desaturate them. And you can play, for example, with a color scheme like that. So I really like that too, to just play with color, or you can layer a top noise onto that. So for example, let's just show that, or a Smaxon noise, and then use like a pretty obvious noise. So for example, the Luca noise, and just get it on one axis. This will be 0, or this will be like that. Yes. Yeah, okay. Let's use it like that. Let's copy that. Pipe that into reflectivity, pipe that out to the surface. And pipe the color in here. And you will get a pretty cool, like, yeah, swirly behavior. And I think that's pretty cool. But of course, that's again fully up to you what you will choose. I also like this, like, yeah, this little more desaturated look. But you can go crazy with these. I really like the two tones sometimes, but I think it's too saturated. And of course the where is it? The infrared is. I think that's pretty cool too. And when you then start to desaturate some values or the colors here, I think you can end up with a pretty cool color scheme, especially another kind of thing that I like to do. Get purple involved. So for example, we will go for a saturated purple here and go that with white. So I really like that too. So you can experiment with that too. Cool. And another kind of thing, let's just okay, I think we'll do that in the next chapter or in the next lesson. For the next lesson, what I want to do is then set up like the second thing, so to show you that how that will look with the spikes, and then we will make our Redshift proxy setup to get like a whole mineral world. And yeah, so try out different materials, different angles of your view, different lighting setups. So of course we will do that later soon in the next lesson. But I think that will look pretty cool by now, and I will see you in the next lesson.